the 16th day of Heshvan, corresponding to October 25th. I'm happy to be back after a very short trip to Brooklyn. The weather started to change up there, so we're going to see a lot of our members and friends from the north coming down to Florida soon. But Baruch Hashem, I'm happy to be back. So let's learn a few minutes about this week's Torah portion, Perashah Vayera. Before I left, we discussed the fundamental messages of Perashat Vayera, not only in the mitzvah of Bikur Cholim and the incident with the city of Sodom Amorah, but we come across how the Torah describes the relationship between God, Hashem, and Abraham Avinu. Abraham Avinu, he was the founding father of Israel. As the Gemara writes, En Avot Ella Shelosha. When it comes to the forefathers of Am Israel, or the founding fathers of Am Israel, Abraham is on top of the list. Now we know that Abraham Avinu developed a great relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to the point that the Navi tells us, Zera Abraham Ohavi, the descendants of Abraham, my beloved. Not too many people were called throughout history the beloved of Hashem. And there are a few ways of how to explain this pasuk. One opinion says, Ohavi. Ohavi means what? That Hashem is calling Abraham, my beloved. Can you imagine? Hashem calls you, yes, I have a good friend in Miami, Mr. Obadiah, for example. I have a good friend in Miami, Mr. Cohen. Can you imagine what the Olam says, I have a good friend? Or Ohavi means also, that loved me. That Abraham Avinu, against the world, despite all odds, that in those days, monotheism, which means the belief in Hashem as a single God, it wasn't the popular way of the world. Everybody had different types of gods. And throughout history, there were many creeds and religions who had different types of God, different types of idols, different types of statues. But in Am Israel, the pasuk says, Shema Israel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. We understand that Borei Olam is the same. But before I go any further, today's class dedicated Le'ilun Nishmat David ben Farha alav Shalom. May it on that the words of Torah may be an elevation to his soul. Amen.
Amen.
There is a pasuk that we all know it by heart. Not very popular pasuk this time of the year, but for 40 days and an extra day is a very powerful pasuk. The pasuk in the Navi tells us in the book of Melachim, there was a time in history that being a prophet, being a rabbi, was dangerous. There were many times in history that being Talmidei Chachamim was a danger position to have in life. And being a Navi, being a prophet, was actually even worse. This is in the time of Eliyahu and Navi. The very famous story how there was a prophet, which interesting enough, he was born a Gentile, but became a convert by the name of Obadiah and Navi. And he loved Torah and loved Hashem so much that he supported and hired 100 prophets when the king Ahab and his wife Jezebel wanted to kill all of the Nevi'im of Am Israel. Why that critical decree against the sages and the holy men of Am Israel? One answer only. Because these two king and queen were involved heavily in Avodah Zarah, in idolatry. And they are Ahab, correct. Ahab and Jezebel. and they committed atrocities among the Jewish people. I heard recently, in the name of the Mekubalim, that you know that in Spain, around the time of the Inquisition, 1492, you remember, I think it happened a few days ago, right? Columbus Day, right? With the three sheep, La Niña, La Pinta, La Santa Maria. You remember that? I remember that from first grade, second grade, so you should know. All right? So, what happened in that generation? Being a Yehudi was very dangerous. And that's why we had three scenarios in Spain. Leave, Haz v'Shalom, be killed, al Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying Hashem's name, or convert. And from that conversion, so to speak, it became a topic known in Judaism as Anusim. Anusim means the Marranos. The Marranos, which I believe it's a Spanish origin, or from the Latin origin, describing like an undercover Jew, so to speak. And according to some, it has a much worse type of meaning.
Amen.
Amen. But bottom line, there were many who made that decision of becoming Anusim. Many of them were caught. And many of them lived throughout the generations. And this is not an uncommon statement to hear from people, especially from South America, Central America, Mexico, Guatemala, etc., Nicaragua, Honduras, and others, stating that their family had very peculiar traditions. One of them was lighting the candles every Friday afternoon under the table. Yani, so nobody will see them. And 1 week of the year they will not eat bread. And 1 week of the year they will not eat meat. And another week, once a year they will not eat at all. You understand? All these things, if you think about them, what do they represent? Shabbat, Pesach, Kippur, etc. Obviously, from a halakha perspective, if someone walks into the room now and it says, I am a descendant of the Marranos, halakha is that since there is no way to truly trace that there was no mixed relationship in the past 500 years, a person needs to go through the kosher process of conversion, etc., which is a different topic and is not the topic of today. I'm just pinpointing this to share with the Kahal how challenging and difficult was being Jewish even in the land of Israel. Because Ahab, going back to Ahab and Izebel in the time of Eliyahu and Navi, all this happened in the land of Eretz Israel. And according to the Mekubalim writings, Isabel from the Inquisition was the soul of Izebel back then in the time of Eliyahu and Navi. Same name. Same name. Let's continue. In that confrontation, when Hashem throws rain of coming down for 3 years, obviously if there is no rain, there is no beracha in the ground. And if there is no rain, how people will survive, how people eat. So it came a moment of desperation. And the famous Haftarah discusses a confrontation between Eliyahu and the Nevi'eh HaBaal, the prophets of the Avodah Zarah. And Baruch Hashem, we all know the happy ending of that story, how it rained and Hashem performed a great miracle to Am Israel. And the Haftarah concludes with one sentence. And this is the pasuk that I was going to say. Hashem Hua Elokim, Hashem Hua Elokim. Let's find this pasuk in Shaharit. This is we say this pasuk in Aseret Yemet Teshuvah. We say this verse during the Selihot, and we say this verse throughout Kippur, throughout Rosh Hashanah, and the day of Rosh Hashanah Rabbah. from Hosha'ana Rabbah till Selichot Rosh Chodesh Elul, we don't say this pasuk. But this pasuk, although on the surface it appears to be a statement that the Jewish people in the time of Eliyahu Navi do teshuvah by recognizing that Hashem Hua Elokim, God is God. That is the translation of this pasuk. But what does this pasuk says? I mean, God is God. I mean, how? Hashem, God, Hu HaElokim. I'll make the question even stronger. Let's look at the pasuk of Shema Israel. How does the pasuk goes? Shema Israel, Adonai Elohenu, Adonai Ehad. I'm allowed to say Hashem's name because we're learning, and I'm saying a full verse. So it says, Shema Israel, Adonai Elohenu, Hashem is one, Hashem is our God, Adonai Ehad, God is one. So what is this concept? Hashem wa Elohim, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Ehad. So we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has many ways that He appears in the world. Obviously, when we're talking about Hashem appearing in the world, it doesn't mean in a physical way, the way we look at a human being. Because once you get to see Hashem, called the Hebra Kadisha, Haz Shalom. The Pasuk says, Ki lo ir'ani ha'adam v'hai. Once a person senses Hashem's spiritual presence, the person's neshama wants to leave the world. That's the difference between being alive and, God forbid, the opposite. But putting that statement on the side, which is a transition between the physical world and the spiritual world, Hashem appears in our life every moment of the day. The question is how? If we see it, or we feel it, or we don't. So let's dissect these two pesukim, which at the end of the day, both of them deliver the same message. Hashem has many names. Hashem, Elokim, Adonai, and Chaim Tovim, Shalom, Makom, Kel, Tzevakot, Shakai. All these are different names of Hashem's name. And there are many more names that are all represented by numbers. Number 21, number 15, number 26, number 45, number 52, number 63, number 72, number 86, 91, 112, 314, and probably there are more numbers in between. But every number that I just mentioned in this class now represents a different aspect of how Hashem reveals Himself in the world to us, collectively and individually. But today we'll discuss two names only. Hashem's name, Amonai, and Hashem's name, Elokim. Because these are the two names that appear in the Shema. Shema Israel, Amonai Elokeinu, Amonai Ehad. Hashem Hua Elokim, Hashem Hua Elokim. So let's understand the different names of Hashem. The name of Hashem, Yod-Ke Vav-Ke, Amonai, is Hashem's name of compassion, mercy, Rahamim. The name of Hashem Elokim represents Midat Hadin. So one name of Hashem is Hesed, and one name of Hashem is Rahamim. Mehila is Din. So we want Hesed. What do you want? Hesed or Din? Hesed. Hesed. Is there anybody who wants Din? We don't want Din at all. We don't want Din at all. Because the word Din means judgment. And when it means judgment, it means that it's not compassion. Problems to the person's life. Haz v'shalom. Also, I don't want to detour from what I'm saying now, but sometimes the challenges and the isurim, the difficulties that a person experiences in life, serve as a cleansing for the neshama. But we'll save this topic for another time. So as long that Hashem acts with us in chesed, compassion, and rahamim, mercy, we are okay. But what happens when din becomes activated? So first the Navi tells us, Amonai huwa Elokim. It says we need to understand that both situations in life, the happy, pleasant, mercy and compassion, has judgment, it comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is supported by the pasuk of the Shema Israel. Shema Israel, Hashem Elokeinu. Now you have two ways of dealing in your life. Hashem, compassion, mercy, benevolence, etc. Elokeinu, judgment. Hashem Ehad. It comes out of the compassion of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Even the challenges in life. And we discussed this thought on Monday or on Sunday before I left, when we were sharing with the Kahal Kadosh the beautiful lessons of Emunah and Bitachon that we heard by Rabbi Shalom Arush and Rabbi Ler Zebrori, the importance of a person understanding that we have the power and the key to be in the driver's seat of our life in a good way. In a good way. And having a Kadosh Baruch Hu as a co-pilot. And I think that the answer is in this pasuk. Hashem huwa Elokim. The moment that we understand that everything, it comes from Hashem, the good and the better, as Nahomish Gamzu used to say, Gamzu letova. I'm sure that Nahomish Gamzu never said a word bad. And I'm sure that he never complained to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why are you so tough with me? As Rabbi Moshe Cordovero says, even if the situation appeared to be negative and unpleasant, he will say, Gam zu letova. Again, I'm not saying that we're going to become Nahomish Gamzu after this class. But I guarantee you that when we charge our batteries of Emunah and Bitachon in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like Abraham Avinu did, and guess what? I have some good news to tell you. First of all, Mashiach is on the way. Okay? So you already know, I told you. But something different. We all carry that spark of Abraham Avinu in our life. Yes, perhaps we can say we live in a different time than Abraham. Perhaps better in a certain way. Abraham Avinu didn't have a community. Didn't have a minyan. Even in this week's parasha, when Abraham tries to negotiate with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ulay yesh 50 tzaddikim. You want to destroy 5 cities? Maybe there is a minyan of people in each city. Let me find 10 good people, and in the zechut of the 10, we don't destroy the city. Guess what? They didn't find 50. 40, 30, 20, 10. Guess what? Mafi hada. They were not able to find even one person. Was only half a good person in the city of Sedom Ba'amorah, the nephew and brother-in-law of Abraham Avinu, named Lot. That was also a troublemaker. But that's a different topic. We discussed about him the other day. Yet Abraham Avinu tried. Look at the time of Abraham, that surviving as a Jew was essential, and look at our times, how easy we have it. There is a minyan, Baruch Hashem, more than, look what's happening now. Live feed now, in video. People are watching this live. It's like the rabbi comes to your house now. I hope you're not in pajamas. Anyways, can you imagine? Variety of minyanim. Torah, exposure, kashrut, mikvaot, yeshivot, kolelim, technology for the usage of the Torah. We are in a much better time than in Abraham Avinu to a certain extent. And for that reason, Hashem calls Abraham Avinu Ohavi. It was reciprocal. The love from Abraham, it wasn't one way. It was round trip. As Shlomo HaMelech says, Ani ledodi vedodi li. Ani ledodi. Dodi means Hashem. And Hashem is with me. And Sefer Hasidim brings a very short but powerful statement saying how our deeds can bring us closer to Hashem and how our deeds can create a distance from Hashem. And the way the statement goes is as follows. Ma'asecha yekarevucha, ma'asecha yirahakucha. Ma'asecha means your deed. Every time I do a good mitzvah, whatever it may be, one chapter of Tehillim, 1 minute of Torah learning, one beracha, one coin in the kubah, helping somebody, all these deeds bring us closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The opposite is the same. And our mission is what? To get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as much as I can. And it's actually a pasuk in the Torah. Ahare Hashem Elokechem Telechu. Follow God. Listen to this pasuk. Ahare, behind, Hashem, compassion's name, Elokechem, Elokim, judgment, Telechu. Follow him. What this pasuk is telling us? It says, Hashem is not only on the compassion side. Hashem is a father. The pasuk says, V'tasher yav Hashem yochiyach. The pasuk says two things. Number one, Hashem is like a father to us. And it's a pasuk. Bani matem la Hashem Elokechem. You are children, we are children of Hashem. Lo titgodedu. Don't fight among yourselves. No father wants when the children fight among each other, correct? Nobody wants it. As I'm sure that us as parents, and some of us grandparents, and some of us great-grandparents, I'm still young, relax, okay? Anyway, I'm getting there, Bezat Hashem, soon. Bezat Hashem. So we understand what does it mean. And that's why King David, David Melech says the beautiful pasuk in the book of Tehillim, Hinema tohu mana'im shevet ahim gam yahad. Hinema tohu mana'im. How wonderful it is and how pleasant it is when the brothers are together. And what does it mean the brothers are? Why the pasuk says ma tohu mana'im? How nice and how pleasant. So I heard once that means as follows, that sometimes all the brothers live in the same city. They live in the same neighborhood. So the parents are happy that all the children are in the same area. But some of them don't talk to each other. And that's why the next pasuk says, Umana'im. Ne'imut means pleasantness. How pleasant is when the brothers are together. And this is something that Abraham Avinu, through his life experiences, and through his emunah and bitachon, his faith and trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is able to inject in our life who we are today. For sure that without Abraham, Ishaq and Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, Yosef, David and Shlomo, and the Tzaddikim that preceded our generations, who knows if Am Israel will be alive today. Because guess what? If in the time of Abraham Avinu things were challenging, today are not less challenging. Today there are challenges. Like it or not, yes, we have a lot of Torah, we have a lot of good things, but the society and the environment is a challenging aspect in the way of life. And Be'ezat Hashem, we hope that very, very soon things will change for the better. One short thought of the Zohar of today, discussing Hashem's pain. Hashem being in pain. When a father sees their child going through difficulties or going through physical pain or emotional pain, what is the normal reaction of a father? The father suffers. The parents suffer. Why? Because we all want that our kids, Be'ezat Hashem, will do better and better and better. But sometimes life brings a couple of curveballs that brings the person to go through hardship. So the Zohar Kadosh of today tells us that a person must understand. There is a very famous pasuk that we say every day in our prayers in Shaharit. The pasuk is from the Korbanot, and it says, Bechol saratam lo tzar, umalach panav hoshiam. Bechol saratam, every time that there is suffering or hardship for Am Yisrael, lo tzar. Lo, if you hear the word lo, means what? The word lo means no, with an aleph, but with the vav means to him. So the pasuk says, Bechol saratam, every time that a Jew suffers or the Jewish nation goes through hardship, lo sar, Hashem also goes through hardship. And that's why the Zohar says a beautiful statement that it says, the Israel inun begaluta, that during the time that the Jewish people are in exile, like we are, like the world is today, until Mashiach's arrival, Be'ezat Hashem, shechinta imehon begaluta. Hashem also is evicted from his home. And the Zohar Kadosh brings several pesukim to support this statement. But the Zohar Kadosh also brings a fantastic, beautiful explanation about the merit, the zechut of surviving as a Jew in these days. To live as a Yehudi is not easy. It comes with a lot of discipline, correct? Self-control, and being on the defensive. In what sense I mean to say that statement? Basically to know that we need to have guidelines and walls of protection. Yes, Baruch Hashem, there is plenty of kosher food. Yes, Baruch Hashem, there is plenty of kosher restaurants. But no one can deny that society, the way it's moving in our days, is not the most conducive, holy way of life. From all levels, from morality, from ways of expressing yourself, treating others, smearing people, the pitfalls of social media has a good side, but also has a negative side. And perhaps to some of us, we say, you know what, I'm okay. I go to shul, I eat kosher, I'm protected. In part, you are protected. But there is a part of life that we need to remember who we are. And that's why the Zohar Kadosh writes and it says that what we are doing now, at this moment, we came to pray, we enjoy a delicious breakfast, and we're sitting down to learn Torah. What exactly are we doing now? We are basically, the Zohar says, filling up, and I'm going to add my 2 cents to the sentence of the Zohar, so we all can relate. I'm filling up the battery of my neshama. So when I close the book and I go to face the world, I have the tools of survival. Like the cell phone gets charged every night, the neshama also needs to get charged every day of our life. And this is the Zohar Kadosh writes, and it says, one of the greatest zechuyot that we learn from two tzaddikim in today's parasha. Because we talked about a lot about Abraham Avinu. But what about Ishak Avinu? Abraham is compassion, Abraham is chesed, kindness, benevolence, helping people. But what about Ishak, which is a star in every day in our prayers? When we talked about Akedat Ishak, which is found in this week's Torah portion, the beautiful Akedat Ishak, and the Pasuk tells us, Vayelechu shenehem yahdav. Abraham and Ishak walked together. Now, why, if the Pasuk tells me, Vayelechu shenehem, and both of them walked, of course it's together. Why the Torah adds you the word yahdav? Yahdav not only means together, but the root word of yahdav is yahid. They were one. They were shenehem in a body format. Abraham one way, Ishak another way. But the soul, their neshama, their conviction to serve Hashem, yahdav. They were equal. There was no difference between Abraham and Ishak. Even how they look the same. Which on a physical way should have not been that way. Because we're going to learn later on what Ishak represents. What Ishak represents? Gevurah. What's the meaning of Gevurah? Gevurah, usually people say strength. Yes, it means strength. But what else does it mean? Discipline, self-control. So we have already, in this hour of the day, or 2 hours of the day, we already have Abraham, Ishak, and Yaakov together. Yaakov is not born yet. Stand shوية. But I'm going to describe this briefly. Abraham is the Hesed of Hashem, kindness. What is the first thing we did when we woke up in the morning today? Hazaku Baruch. Modeh ani lefanecha. We say, thank you Hashem for giving me another day in my life. That's the Hesed of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As the Pasuk writes, Hesed v'rachamim maleh chevodo. Mercy and compassion is the business card of Hashem. You know, you give your friend a business card. Usually in a business card, you're supposed to say, what do you do? Right? So Hashem has a business card. It's called Hesed v'rachamim. Sometimes could be Din, but to our benefit, it's mostly Hesed and Rachamim. Then we woke up in the morning. We came to Shul. That comes from where? From Ishak. The discipline. Some of us struggle to wake up in the morning. And every day, we are at war with the Yeser Hara. The Yeser Tov is the alarm clock. It's telling you, wake up, wake up. And the Yeser Hara is the hand that shuts it down. As the Pasuk says, Hakol kol Yaakov, Be'yadayim yedei Esav. One great rabbi says, Hakol kol Yaakov is the alarm clock in the morning that's telling us, wake up to serve the Creator. Esav represents the hands who wants to shut off the alarm clock to continue sleeping. And Baruch Hashem, to everybody's benefit, what did we do? We told the Yeser Hara, come back later. Now I need to get up and go to Shul and come to pray. That comes from Ishak Avinu. Discipline. And then comes now the learning of Yaakov. So look, in 2 hours, we already connected with Abraham, Ishak, and Yaakov. And that's why the Gemara says, En avot ella shelosha. The founding fathers of Am Israel are 3. Oh, that later on we have Moshe Rabbeinu, and Aaron HaKohen, and Yosef HaSaddiq, and Shlomo, and David, and Shaul, and all the great tzaddikim. Beautiful. But guess what? They were the initiators. It's like you buy an IPO. You know what that means, right? Rashi Tevot, IPO. You bought it after it became public. It's not a big deal. You bought it as an IPO, then you can make a huge difference. And these were the founding fathers of Am Israel. And that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Zera Abraham Ohavi. Not only the one who loved me, but the one that I love. Why? Because Abraham was Moser Nefesh. Abraham Avinu sacrificed himself for Borei Olam. And this is something that we do every day. Perhaps not with the same awareness like Akedat Ishaq, but each person experiences their own Akedat Ishaq in life, in marriage, in the business world. And we need to remember that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us, as we mentioned in the earlier part of the class, even when the situations, Haz Shalom, may seem to be not good, but that's relevant to what kind of glasses do we see it. If we see it with glasses or lenses of Emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Bitachon in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so you're going to say everything is good. Didn't work the shidduch, okay. Didn't work the business, not a problem. Didn't work buying this unit, Borei Olam will send me another one. And I'll tell you now from personal experience, the more we train our brain to think in this way, in every setback that we experience in life, you'll see how your life is going to change. You're going to be less stressed. You're going to have less anxiety. You know, somebody asked me, did you buy a Powerball ticket? Which one was it?
Mega Million.
Mega. I was so happy that I didn't win. I bought one because a person needs to make the ishtadlut. Okay? And to dream for a minute, but I was telling my kids and my wife, not for us. Not for us. A lucky winner won a ticket, I think, somewhere, right?
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
From Tiberia. That's what I heard yesterday.
Okay, Besiman Tov, but Baruch Hashem, doesn't matter. We just hope and pray that this person's life remains to the best of its ability in a normal way of thinking. Because the statistic tells us otherwise. They speak about suicide, addictions, divorce, Haz Shalom, God forbid. Addiction includes all of the above. So, count your blessings. We need to count our blessings. And we get them. We just need to see them in a good way. Okay. Okay, the Musar of today comes from the one and only Sefer Haredim, chapter 66. Yesterday, which I'm sure you had a class yesterday with a great rabbi, discussed about the dangers of Lashon Hara. We know this topic by heart. I don't have to go through it, correct? Also, he mentioned about anger. How much a person needs to stay away from these two elements. But here, the Musar of today tells us a very strong statement concerning the consequences of Lashon Hara. So we already know that the more or the better the person speaks, the better the life of the person becomes. And many times, because we are not careful the way we speak, we go through headaches in our life. Bottom line, you cannot separate them. Milah, the words of the person, have more power than we believe. Sometimes in the world of business, they tell you, yes, we spoke about it, but there is nothing in writing. That's in the world of business. But in the world of Jewish life, your word is your stamp. is your rubber stamp. As long as that is emet, you are in the ways of God. As the Gemara says, Chotamo shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu emet. You want to find God where the truth is, Hashem is there. The opposite is the same. Sheker, God forbid, lying, deceitfulness, we say in Hebrew, en la raglaim, has no leg to stand on. If you think for a moment, the word emet, as the Ben Ish Chai says, has 3 letters. The Aleph, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. The Mem from middle, the middle letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And the Tav, the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Meaning to say, emet is 100% emet. Sheker, lying, has 3 letters, which are very close to each other. Shin is 2 letters away from the Kof. Kof is 1 letter away from the Resh, and Resh is 1 letter away from the Shin. But something very peculiar in these 3 letters, that the letter Aleph, I'll do this drawing quickly so the audience can see it. You zooming in? Look at the word emet. Look at the shape of the letters. Each letter has a base, how to stand. The Aleph has 2 legs, the Mem has a wide leg at the bottom, and the Tav has 2. But look at Sheker. Sheker, en la raglaim. Why? It only has 1 leg to stand on the Shin, 1 leg on the Kof, 1 leg on the Resh. Do you see the difference? This is from A to Z, and this is 3 letters only. The Lashon, the Hafetz Chaim writes on the Sefer of Shemirat HaLashon, quoting the Zohar HaKadosh, that the words that a person speaks, what happens to them? What happens to the words? So the Zohar says, Gone with the Wind. I don't mean the movie, not my style. Gone with the Wind is a Kabbalistic aspect. The words, the wind carries them in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they lined up in front of Hashem. If the words are nice, pleasant, positive, emet, we have nothing to worry about. But what if, Haz v'Shalom, the words are not emet, or the words are lashon hara, and the words are words of deceitfulness? Haz v'Shalom, there was a time in history, and this was yesterday's Musar, I believe, which we know this already from the past, actually Tuesday, describing that Sara'at, leprosy, was actually a miracle that happened in the life of the person, and only became activated when a person spoke Lashon Hara. And I share with you 2 small proofs, since I wasn't here on Tuesday, but I'll tell you the 2 small proofs. Moshe and Miriam. Moshe and Miriam. I'm not talking about 2 people from the street. I'm talking about Moshe Rabbeinu and Miriam and Nevi'ah, the one who saved Moshe Rabbeinu. Both of them were punished with Sara'at, with leprosy. You may say, Rabbi, come on. Moshe and Miriam punished with leprosy? We know Miriam. Where Moshe was punished, so if you look in the beginning of Sefer Shemot, when Hashem begs Moshe Rabbeinu, go and save my children, what does Moshe says to Hashem? V'haya im lo ya'aminu li. What will be if they don't believe in me? That I'm here representing you to redeem the Jewish people. And what Hashem says to Moshe, Moshe, take your hand, put it inside of your coat, whatever he was wearing those days, and take the hand out. And the pasuk says, Vehine yado mesora'at kashalib. Moshe Rabbeinu was punished with sara'at. Why? Because he says, what will be if they don't believe? Did you try? If you try and they say to you, we don't believe, is one thing. But in advance you are already casting a shadow of a doubt against the Jewish people. Free sample, Sarah. Fast forward, Miriam and Neviah. She made a comment. She didn't really speak Lashon Hara. She made a comment about the wife of Moshe Rabbeinu. And the pasuk tells us that she also got Sarah. So you may ask now, you may ask yourself, okay, Rabbi, I understand that Sarah, Lashon Hara, but what about today? Who doesn't speak Lashon Hara? Today you don't speak Lashon Hara. You post Lashon Hara. You write Lashon Hara. You text Lashon Hara. You Twitter Lashon Hara. Believe me, people will be more careful, goyim, governments, presidents, senators, and journalists, in the way they write. We will live in a safer world, in a better world. Look what's happening, without going into details. All these crazy situations in life. Not for talking, for typing. So yet, we don't see anyone that has sarat. We don't see anyone that has leprosy. So we need to understand that this is actually a gift from Hashem, that no one today experiences the physical reaction in the human body of sarat, of leprosy. You know why? Because if that will happen, there will not be a way for the person to be cured until Mashiach comes. But, and here comes the big but, B-U-T, okay? Hashem sent a trade-in consequence for Sarat. And now we're going to read from Sefer Haredim. And comes the great Sefer Haredim, and it says as follows. Just 1 second. And it says, Ben Adam Da'alecha, Sefer Haredim, written by the great Rabbi Eliezer Askari, 500 years ago. He's buried in Tzfat, to Rabbi Ma'ari, and the Ramak, and Rabbi Yosef Karo, and Rabbi Moshe Alshir. He was a great, great sage, a Mekubal. He writes, quoting the Zohar Kadosh, and it says, Sheha'aniyut binkom sara'at omedet. It says, you want to know what is the trade-in or the trade-off from leprosy? Financial challenges. So I ask you a question now. How many of us go through financial challenges? Let's make the question even more interesting. Is there someone who doesn't have financial challenges? If you don't have, consider yourself lucky. But you know what Sefer Haredim is saying to us? That if we become more conscientious of how we speak, and how we speak, let's clarify, doesn't mean only not talking Lashon Hara. In yesterday's Musar, he gave a key word saying that when you talk, when we speak, you kol devarecha kavod begadol vepius labore belaberiyotav לקטנים ולגדולים, ולרעים ולטובים, בשפל בסבלן. I will translate. If we apply this an hour a day, we are in the right track. Besides everything that I said. Because emunah is between me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I can encourage you to have emunah. I can help you. I mean, I when I say I don't mean me only. We all can help each other. As the Navi writes in last week's Haftarah, Ish et re'ehu ya'azoru ulahiv yomar hazak. We help each other. But here he's telling us from Sefer Haredim, chapter 66, and it says, when we talk, kavod gadol, speak in a very respectful way, befius, that can be translated in an apologetic manner. Yeah, not only respectful, in a kind, positive manner. Labore belivruav. Not only when we talk to Hashem, but when we talk to people. Laketanim velagedolim. It doesn't matter who they are. Are they younger? Are they older? Lara'im velatovim. It doesn't matter on the spiritual level that a person could be higher or lower. It says, Belev naki vetahor, with a pure heart, Beshafel besablan, with humility and with tolerance. If we apply this short sentence of Sefer Haredim, all Shalom Bayit problems of the world will disappear. Guarantee you. Amen is true. Because many times, what causes Shalom Bayit? How we treat our spouse. What causes tension in a community, or in a synagogue, or in a office setting? The environment, that if it's a pleasant, proper, friendly environment, or has v'shalom, hostile environment. And when I mean hostile, it doesn't need to be with weapons or with physical aggression, God forbid. For that you call the police. I'm talking about verbal. Verbal abuse is the worst way of hurting someone. These are the words of the Gemara. And it takes the more effort and more than just effort to repair the damage. Sometimes it's repairable. Sometimes requires a lot. I think that Sefer Haredim, together with the Zohar of today, deliver a great message of how, as I said before, we can be in the driver's seat of our life. We want to live better, see things from a Emunah perspective. You want to have less financial problems and more success? Watch your mouth. At all levels. I'm not talking only eating kasher and saying berachot. That's a given. But how we speak, how we treat. As Sefer Haredim says, when you talk to people respectfully, to everyone, katan gadol, ra tov, it doesn't matter. A human being is in front of us. We need to apply this. And believe me, I'm telling you this from personal and professional experience. When we treat people in this good way, they're going to turn. They're going to turn for better. Maybe in the beginning not. But if they see you, how you are trying, if your wife sees it, if your children see it, in the past you perhaps may have had a very impulsive type of attitude. And now at this moment says, you know what? I'd rather not argue. or let me pick a better choice of words, more clean, more respectful, believe me, you're going to be living a happier life, a holier life. And once we take care of this part of the body, so Hashem takes away the headaches, takes away the challenges of Parnasah, and Be'ezat Hashem, a person is crowned with a good life. But do me a favor, don't do it just to change your Parnasah settings. Do it because this is what's going to make us a better person, a better Yehudi, a better human being. And this is our contribution to the world, to make the world a more happier, healthier, and a meaningful way of life. Okay, my dear friends? Baruch Adonai